Hello YouTube, it's Sam. It has been a long time. It is Saturday, June 9th, 2012, and I wanted to make an update because I did something very exciting yesterday, and it has to do with stuff in this folder, but first you guys should see the butt because he's so cute. Look at summertime butt. Yes. Who's covered in crap? It's you. Okay, now that we've done that, we can look at what's inside this very exciting folder. Decree changing name and gender. La 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 la. Check it out. Samuel Noah Berliner. And it's even got official, where is it? Oh, back here. Official stamps and stuff, which is super cool. So I changed my name and my gender marker in court yesterday. So I am legally Samuel Noah, which is very exciting. I'm also male. Yeah, there's that. It's just, I don't know. I think that the whole process is a little bit funky and a little interesting that I now am legally male. So just because a judge signed a piece of paper, we live in an interesting world. So anyway, basically the story is I filed my paperwork in February, and yesterday was the soonest date that was available. And I went to court with my friend. She came with me in Oakland. So the clerk called me up to like check on a form or whatever, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Berliner," and I was like, "Whoa, he's talking to me." That was interesting. And then a whole bunch of us were there to get our names changed. Some people were getting married. Some people were changing their names for various reasons. I think there was one other trans person there. And so we all stood up at the same time, and we all held up our right hand, and he said, "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?" I don't even remember if he said, "So help you God." I don't know. It was like a blur. And I had been joking previously that I didn't know if I was supposed to say yes or I do. And so I was like, "Oh God, yes or I do, yes or I do, yes or I do." And then finally I just waited a beat and let everyone else talk, and they started to say yes, so I said yes. And then I sat down, and the woman behind me was whispering to her soon-to-be husband, "I really want to say I do." So it wasn't just me who was confused. Oh, and then they even said, "Please come to order, Honorable Judge so-and-so presiding. Court is now in session." So that was pretty cool. So they just took us up one by one, and you just stood there. I just stood there while the judge read over my paperwork to make sure everything was cool. He didn't ask me any questions. I was prepared to say it's a better fit for my identity. Didn't ask me. Yeah, I just stood there, and then after about a minute, he said, "Okay, all set." And I said, "Thank you," and I sat down. So it was really easy. I mean, all the paperwork leading up to that day was really hard and took me 2 years of deciding on a name or filling it out and then being wait, I should change the gender marker too. And I eventually went and saw a very nice friend of a friend of mine who is a lawyer and trans himself, and he helped me fill out the paperwork, which was really great. Okay, so I had to come inside because the power on my laptop ran out. So now we're in here. But basically, I had a lawyer help me with the paperwork, which was really great because it turns out that changing your name and your gender in California is really complicated. And I went and saw him, and he was so nice. And I took pages and pages of notes of do this and then bring this here. And I got this many copies made, and anyway, he was super helpful. It was a super big day, and I have a bunch of photos that my friend took that was very, very nice of her to document that I'll put in here. One of the interesting things was that I wasn't anticipating having an emotional thing around changing my name. Basically, everyone has known forever that I don't like the name Elizabeth. It's just, regardless of gender, I've never liked that name. And so that wasn't really a surprise. And then also, I didn't anticipate having emotional stuff around it because I didn't even remember it was happening until a couple days before. I was like, oh yeah, hey, that's on the calendar. I gotta go do that. But it was very interesting that about 2 days beforehand, I started having some feelings and processing and being like, whoa, this is actually a little bit of a loss. And like I said, it's not like I really wanted to hold on to that name, but it's something that I had lived with and put up with and got used to, just made the best of it for my entire life. And that's a really big change. 29 years of a particular name is a long time. So I talked to some friends. I talked to my parents who were really, 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 of course, really supportive as always. They're so wonderful. And it was just like, okay, having feelings, and that's all right. And I was still like, there's no way I'm not going to do this. And of course, when I go through with it, I'm really excited about all the things that will have the name on it that'll make situations easier. Like when I went to vote, it was like Elizabeth, and she looked at me and was like, what? And like all kinds of things like that. I just look forward to that stuff being not an issue. But it reminded me almost really identically to how I was feeling about top surgery before it happened. It was the same thing. The name and my chest had both been something that I hadn't liked, that had been there forever. Well, boobs grow, but whatever. That I didn't want, but that I had put up with forever and had gotten used to putting up with forever. So in that way, I totally understand why I was like, oh gosh, I'm feeling a little bit sad, almost, just a tiny bit around this, and I still feel it a little, but it was pretty great. Like when the day rolled around and I got up and put on my fancy outfit, well, my nice new shirt, and like went over to the courthouse, and admittedly we got a little lost and that was stressful, but once we were there and things were happening, it was just like so exciting and the right thing to do, and it just felt really good. And that also reminded me of top surgery, of how anxious I was leading up to it, especially the night before. And then getting there and him marking up my chest and me just being like, yes, this is right. This is happening now. And I'm so excited for it. And this is so good. And that's totally how I felt when the judge was there looking through my papers and eventually signing it. I was like, yes, this is happening and it's good. And I'm really excited about it. So I started picturing what my debit card's gonna look like. I started picturing what my student ID is gonna look like. I started picturing my mail coming in the mail to Samuel, the official stuff, and so exciting. So that's my big update. Next month in July will be 1 year post-op, so I will totally make a video for that. Also, in August, on August 23rd, I will be 2 years on testosterone, which is incredibly bizarre, and time goes really fast, and it's crazy, but it's great. I guess another thing to talk about is that I'm still trying to acclimate to this male thing, and I know that I talked about in my last video how I'm not quite identifying as male, but I'm getting closer to identifying as male. I still feel the same way as I did then, and I'm sure that will eventually change, and I will come into that identity and my own definition of maleness, and that'll be okay. I'm getting a lot closer to it. I might even identify more as trans male than genderqueer at this point, but it's something that I really need to give a lot more thought to before I commit to an identity shift, because that would be really intense, and I don't know how I feel about that, especially because the term genderqueer has been so good to me. So at the moment, I use all of them. I identify as trans and genderqueer. And I don't put the word male in there, but thinking about it. Anyway, so that's what's going on. That's my big trans news, and overall, I just feel really good. I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel pleased in my decisions, and I feel like I'm at the point where I am not processing so much about my gender, and I can be a really strong resource for someone who is, and who wants to be heard and wants feedback. So I'm happy to have stepped into that role at this point in my process. So anyway, of course, I've got tons to do once I get the decree out to various places like Social Security, the DMV, birth certificate, all kinds of things. There's like a super long list that I need to find of all the things you have to change. Oh, if anyone has that list, feel free to pass that along to me because I'm going to have to be looking that up. Also, I'm going to get new glasses. And then I'm going to go to the DMV so that I can have Schmantz new glasses. And I wonder if you can see this picture. I feel really good about these. So hopefully those will be my new glasses on my license. So anyway, that's all. I hope everyone out there is doing great. Like I said, I'll update when I've got things to talk about. Otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just putting up my work from school, so feel free to watch that stuff. And I'm working the Frameline Film Festival, the San Francisco International LGBT Film Festival. It's in its 36th year, and I'm super excited to be actually employed by them this season, which is so exciting. And I'm working on my thesis film and enjoying the summer. So I hope you guys are all great. I miss you. It's been so long, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye.